I'm Mr. Wazanski, and this is a speed run of practice test 4, the second module, the C module, the hard module. And I wasted a couple of seconds on that flubbed intro, so we're going to do it quickly, heading to the first conventions question that we can possibly see. This is a late game. We're going to have to want to move fast. I immediately see that I'm on the conventions section. So let's get that title screen going. I've got transition as this. I'm immediately going to bias one of these two guys. I'm going to check for a complete sentence on either side. I see that I'm in the first sentence, so I second guess myself. We do have a complete sentence on the left. There's my independent clause there. The brightly colored seems to wait. We do have a complete sentence on either side, but I don't like this one. The rather would be saying that there's contrast to something that's not really there, so I like this one. So even though it does not appear, they seem to wait. D is going to be the right answer. 18. I've got the omega considerations of what here. We've got verbs, we've got a singular, we've got a singular, we've got a both, and we've got a singular. We can now consider this to be a shift in verb tense question, so we can consider the whens. I've got a present, I've got a present, I've got a both, and I've got a past. No odd man out here. We're going to ignore the aspect for a moment and go looking for a when clue. The laboratory data about the sound ring collected by the Kasani. This is not a clue about when. This is a reduced relative clause when she made. Made is in the past, so I'm going to land on the was studying and move on. 19. Omega consideration. What do we have here? We have the complete sentence mix-up. I've got my lonely Coco. I've got my beauty that's here, my lonely comma that's there, and I've got the space. I'll pick this and I'll double check to make sure that I have a complete sentence on either side. A clipper ship is going to be my subject called. That's another reduced passive, like I just said. It left. So I do have an independent clause over here. A clipper ship left. Then, a clipper ship called entered. Sorry. Slow there, over the blank, calm down a second. We have the independent clause on the left side. A clipper ship entered. Then, could you please delete? We have to move fast. The celebrated ship. This is a classic mix-up where they want to read very deep for 1B is the right answer. Because we have two complete sentences on either side, we can't join them with that trash. 20. Omega considerations. What do I got here for verbs? I've got a singular, I've got a plural, I've got a plural, and I've got a plural for this one. I can bias the odd man out, go looking for a subject over this little bridge here. I've got the title of the work. The title of the work is singular, singular, singular. Everything's going to be fine. 21. Omega consideration. What do I have here? I have the complete sentence mix up again. I've got my beauty that's present there, the lonely comma that's present there. I've got the lonely coordinating conjunction there, and I've got my space here. I'm going to bias my beauty and check for a complete sentence on either side. I'm towards the end of the sentence, so I'm going to start here. There's a past participial phrase there at the beginning. These burial chambers seem. I've got my independent clause over here. Let's look to the left side. We don't have much. Recently traveled, and I do have a complete sentence over here. Two complete sentences cannot be joined with that trash. Omega consideration. Just kidding. 22. Omega consideration. What do I have here? I see that I have name, title. We have the name, this thing. We've got the title, critic. A is attached to film, so I've got nothing here. So I'm not going to separate the name from the title with anything. That's going to fall, then that's going to fall. So it's going to be one of these two guys. Then, am I going to put a bridge around claims? That would be weird. That he claims that we have a subject and a verb. We're not going to separate the subject from the verb, putting its verb under a bridge there. C is going to be our answer. 23. Omega considerations. What do we have here? I don't see anything, but I do see semicolons coming and going, so let's look for consistency. Do I have another semicolon in the text? Absolutely. There is not another one, so we can start figuring out what's in the list. We know that this needs a partner, so he's going to fall, so he's going to fall. Then it's going to be one of these two, so that I'm asking myself, is the thing that's both native and non-native the thing before it, or the thing that's after it? Both native and non-native fostering scientific research. That doesn't make sense. It is the species who are both native and non-native. B is going to get our pick. 24. Let's read this left side. He conquered. He conquered all of Mesopotamia. He conquered all. And he built into one of today's most powerful, one of today's. I'm looking at today, trying to rush myself through this, but we have to become one of the most powerful cities in the ancient world. He conquered and he built one of the ancient world's most powerful cities. Let's grab something from over here. We've got this statement of today that we shouldn't forget. You go to the end and then it won't let you highlight. This first part is going to be my why. Let's make sure that we're explaining the strats for people, Mr. Wazanski. We've got this X on this left side. We've got this Y on this other. So today he is mainly remembered for some stone. As I think about the relationship between these two things, I am torn a little bit. I want to put in this blank, so even though he did all of that crazy stuff, we have the concept for even though that we could have. So even though X, Y is something that's nice. Today, today, even though back then he did all those things, today he's mainly remembered. So I like that idea. I'm going to read this first sentence because I don't feel too comfortable. Achieved much during his 40-year reign. This does exemplify the first thing, but then it does seem to pivot that the much that he achieved was merely the laws there. So it's certainly not going to be cause and effect. That is tempting. For instance, it doesn't match it. So it's going to be one of these two things. Likewise, I'm going to take likewise off the table because we have the past and then the present that seem to be in contrast. And I'm not necessarily stating the achieving much. It's almost as if there was a letdown, that he did all of this crazy stuff, but like he's mainly remembered for some laws on a stone. Sucks to be him, right? I want my legacy to be, my bad. I want my legacy to be something greater than just some stone. And I would imagine he would be the same. Most crazy dictators would be. I'm going to start here. She places Thomas's journey. Let's grab my X from on this side. X equals. She has Thomas be in the A South to the Midwest in the Great Migration. Then I can start grabbing something from this right side. Dove. Dove must be different than she. No. Dove. Why would you go she, then back to doves? Because Thomas ain't no girl. Fine. Dove puts that name in the civil rights movement. Right. So we have two different places, two different people. So on the other hand, I'm looking for some sort of like blanket contrast between these two things. This is like a rule 4 is what I'm looking for. Whereas XY, or maybe this could be, I'm going to start engaging with the things. I don't necessarily love this idea. Specifically, no, left side is not a specific example of the right. Cause and effect, these are two different places and two different times. Despite, whereas, regardless, despite the fact that. So it's going to be similarly. This is going to be some sort of secondary support. In our poetry collection, Thomas and Blue interweaves. This is one where we would access the Z in this one, which is fun that we finally get to demonstrate this. Let's slow it down. Z equals Dove weaves people with narratives. That they are different, but when you're engaging with these notions of differences, you want to look to Z's because we're proving the notion of the first part. So both of these could land on this one, but whenever you want to deal with a whereas, or we could do a notion of similarity, be careful from this notion. You access the Z because that's the point that it's going to prove. Similarly is going to be it. 26, let's grab something from this first part. When designing concept, American artists, I guess he typically custom fits. Then we start reading for the film in which astronauts must reunite a dying sun. That's going to be my X that's present up here. Then we can start going here for the film Sunshine, in which astronauts must reignite a dying sun. She designs a golden spaceship and had factory reproduce it. Oh, she designed factory reproduce it. This is easy. I wish I didn't have to type this. It had been done with factory reproduction. So even though we are going to deal with some even though X, Y here, yeah, despite the fact that it's got to be this. Though she typically does it, then there's going to be this kind of subversion from that. They want to make, we have two things here. We want to make and we want to support a generalization about the topic, orbits of comets. Comet questions, they love these. Astronomers estimate that the number of comets orbiting the sun is in the billions. The orbit may change. No. If they're orbiting the sun, that they might change shapes. We're not instantiating the previous claim that was made there. Like these 3 planets, billions of comets orbit the sun. I'm instantiating the orbits of comets with planets. Kind of weird, but I'll leave him on the table. One example of a comet is 81P Wild, whose orbit around the sun was between these 2 planets, but is now between these 2 planets. One example of a comet. So we're exemplifying a comet with change. I don't make it what's the generalization? Billions of comets. And we're going to make this by proving this with 3 planets. I don't like B and I don't like C. Oof, I'm scared. A comet's orbit around the sun may change over time. This is the making of a generalization. The orbit of comet 81P Wild once lay between these 2, but is now, yes, we're supporting that generalization. About the orbits of comets. They change. Those other ones were about planets. It's absolutely going to be that one. Let's start engaging with these word choice questions. In studying the use of external stimuli to reduce the itching sensation caused by an allergic histamine response, Leahy, Word, and colleagues found that while harmless applications of vibration or warming can be temporary. Such harmless. So we're going such is gluing us to the thing before, so we're looking for harmless, and we're looking to match that. Deceptive, it's not deceptive, it's innocuous, is a statement of harmfulness. 2, I feel like I forgot to announce the questions. Is inspired, new and interesting research is inspired by their observations that though there have been many studies of the effect of high altitude on blood chemistry, there is not a lot. Though there have been many studies on the effects of high altitude on blood chemistry, there is not a lot studies on the effect of blood chemistry, such as, there is a paucity, small amount. Oh man, I saw this word a long time ago on an SAT, and I just know that to be true. There's no fight paucity, absolutely. Veritas, knowledge, absolutely. Paucity is small amount. Remember it. All right, the rich get richer on vocabulary questions. 3. Let's start engaging with this. Whether the reign of the French monarchs, such as Hugh Capet, was historically historically, consequently, or relatively uneventful. Hugh Capet was historically consequential. Whether it was consequential or uneventful, so it doesn't matter what it was. Its trajectory was shaped by questions of legitimacy, and therefore cannot be understood without corollary understanding of the factors that allowed the monarch to his right to hold his throne. Whether the reign of French monarch was impactful or it didn't matter, its trajectory was shaped by questions of legitimacy. Right? People didn't even know if he should have been there. Who cares if he was bad or good? They shouldn't even know if he was been there. And therefore cannot be understood without a corollary understanding of the factors that allowed the monarch to hold on to. Maintain. Buttress means to support. Reciprocate is to give back. It's got to be buttress here. 4. Researchers led a 2020 study showing that individual acts of kindness can do something to pro-social behavior. So my anticipatory word is going to be like help or hurt, one of these two things, but I have to read after to find what it is. You're going to find that bystanders who witness a helpful act become more likely to offer help to someone else, and in doing so, we've got another signal, and it means to inspire others, so we are helping, can help, spread, help give out, help spread, require, remember, fosters, absolutely going to be it. 5, we've got the function of an underlined sentence. First, we're going to read this and see if that alone can help us get rid of some stuff on the right side. The trees. I'm in a narrative. The trees, like people, have character. Oh, man. All right, we're fluffy here. Forgive me. Some are ready to yield up their lifeblood. Some were ready to die. Some were reluctant, like ready to die. Some are ready to give up their lifeblood. I guess not ready to give. Some are reluctant. It portrays the range of personality traits displayed by the women. No, we are weirdly talking about trees right now, so it's not going to be that one. It foregrounds the beneficial relationship between humans and maple trees. Maybe. It's kind of missing the... I dropped it from mine, but that while was here. This seems to be something that's big. Though we are getting something. We are getting lifeblood, but the lifeblood misses everything else. It demonstrates how human behavior can be influenced by their natural environment. How? No, it foregrounds the beneficial relationship between humans and maple trees. I would say, okay, fine. They're getting lifeblood. No, it's lifeblood to them, but all we're getting is like, I would imagine, maple. It demonstrates how human behavior can be influenced by the natural environment. No, if it went to like the great lengths to go through, if it were more like process-oriented, maybe I'd like, see, it elaborates on an aspect of the maple trees that the women evaluate. I like this. The beneficial relationship, it's lifeblood to them, so if anything, it might be bad for them to have it be taken. I'm getting no statements about how ready, they were like ready to die. The beneficial relationship, I don't have the language to sort beneficial. That they're just noticing something is there. This is making a specific claim that I don't feel has overall support, so I'm going to take it off the table and I'm going to land it on this one. 6, main purpose. Let's read the final sentence. These thoughts, I did not think to check. I did not dwell on these thoughts, because they might spiral into mad doomer. thoughts. All right, so then we start reading. I went on with my day's business tranquilly. We can start summarizing here. I'll do everything in this little tucked away thing. I went on my day's business tranquilly. I went about chill. But the ever and anon suggestions kept wandering across my brain. The reason why I could not help but think about why I should quit Thornfield. And I kept involuntarily framing about new situations. And I was daydreaming about others, right? Others being like other workplaces. What's the main purpose of the text? To convey a contrast between outward calmness and internal restlessness. I like that. To emphasize the loyalty for people. No, right? Loyalty is not like, man, if I chase these thoughts and explore them a little bit, I would totally, right, like cheat on my significant other or lead my workplace. To demonstrate that Jane finds herself both challenging and deeply fulfilling. Nope, she has no statements of fulfillment. To describe Jane's determined. No, there's conflict right now. This one and this one are giving the other sides of the coin. Right now we have the notion of conflict. Outside there, but then that signal element, but then this contrast between the two feelings. Absolutely. What is the overall structure of the text for this one? All right, let's start reading and start summarizing. What do we have here? She who is also person who is painter uses images to emphasize the ideas. Person uses images, she creates to emphasize images to relate to music. Then we keep cruising. For the cover of the album, that thing, here is the thing she does. Here is one example of her doing that thing. Then the next sentence, what is it engaging with? I don't know why I'm summarizing them all in the same color. I could just keep cruising in one. The image calls attention to the album's title song. The example is of a song that relates to Van Gogh. In that song, she also hints that she feels a strong reinforce the relationship between cover and artist and song. Okay. Then it presents a claim about Mitchell. Absolutely. Then gives an example supporting that. I absolutely love A. It then considers Mitchell. No, we do not have Mitchell's influence on other artists. It describes a similarity between artists, then a difference. No, it describes a song, then describes how it describes the songs. No, we got a shift in scope in there. 7 is A. Which states the sentence of the underlined sentence. Using data spanning data, the team they compared a ton. This is methodology. Methodology. The team compared 29,000 to the actual earnings, compared forecast to actual. What's the underlying function? To summarize the results. No, this is the methodology. To present a specific example that illustrates, maybe to explain part of the methodology. This is absolutely it. It's not the specific example that illustrates the findings. I don't really know what the findings are. They are just the process to get there. We don't have to call it a challenge a team faced. No, this is just like what they did. Absolutely. Text 2, text 1. Most likely say about text 1's characterization about the characterization involving EGR rather. So let's read text 2. When she and her team reported the panther worms possess a gene for, it was exciting at first. So let's start summarizing text 2 first. EGR was hype at first. However, as the team pointed out, EGR has a different function. So why be excited is what you would say. This has likened EGR to a switch that activates other genes involved in it. But how the switch operates, why be excited? Has a different function. We don't know what it does for humans. So let's start engaging with text 1. Most animal skins can regenerate parts of their bodies, such as skin, but when a 3-banded panther worm is cut into 3 pieces, each piece grows into a worm. Cool. Researchers are investigating this feat to learn more about humans' comparatively limited ability, and they're making exciting It's not exciting. And it is not especially promising. It is not especially promising. It is reasonable? No, it's not reasonable. It's overly optimistic. Absolutely. Given additional observation, yes, because you don't know how it does. It is unexpected. No, we can expect this thing. But the team's findings were not messed with. No, this is conflating like both the ideas were. It is unfairly dismisses. No. These people disagree with each other. 10. Which choice most effectively uses data from the table to complete the example? credited film output of James Young, name. All right, fine. For example, so we are going to be kicking back to the previous sentence. For example, what am I exemplifying? It is entirely possible, for example, in fact, so that's, maybe we go back one more for this one. In fact, so many films have been lost. The counts of the four figures output, so many of the films, things are minimums, not totals. Given this, it is possible that, interesting. So it's saying that the data itself will be a liar at parts. So we want one where it should be taken as bare minimums rather than totals. Okay. Dark clouds acted in significantly fewer films. Dark clouds acted in significantly fewer films than this guy. Sure, those things are true, but this makes no statement. I would want this to say like even more than the other person because things were lost. Edwin was in 47 films. 47 credited acting roles include only films, maybe. Steer acted in far more than 66 and directed more than 58. Yes, more than 58. So these are numbers, but then we're speaking to the notion of bare minimums, not totals. Include only films. This is like my umbrella concept. I don't really know why B is wrong, but it's like weirdly picking one thing out of it. Credited for include only films after. Oh no, it would, because this is implying that it was done with every single one that was after. Actually directed 33 and only acted in 10. No, this is engaging not with the notion that some had been lost. We want to support their claim. Let's find their claim. Always, or it's not always at the end, but it's usually going to be there. Claim that endothermy, claim equals endothermy would have enabled mosasaurs. Endothermy would have let the mosasaur go to the cold polar waters. So what is endothermy? I think I remember what it is, but I think I'm good for time, so I'm not worried. Mosasaurs are reptiles. Examined oxygen 8. They love oxygen 18. They love it in squids too. In order to calculate likely body temperatures and determine that is. So here's my definition of it. They used metabolic to maintain a stable body temperature in a variety of it. So they could have endothermy, that they could have done this means that they could have been in range. So we want to support this. So mosasaurs, likely body temperatures are easier to determine from tooth enamel than the body's, what? I'm going to put B on the table. Fossils of both mosasaurs and non-endothermic marine mammals have been found in roughly equal numbers in regions known to be near the poles, though in lower concentration. Now, if they're in equal near the poles and it was cold in the polar waters, no, this would go against their claim. So I still don't know what A is saying, but I'll put C on the table. Several mosasaurs have been found in regions known to be near the poles during late Cretaceous, while relatively few of have been found in C is absolutely the right answer. We're just going to move on from this. I should be disciplined. During the late seawater temperatures were likely higher through them, including the poles. No, we want that endothermy allowed them to do something that they couldn't have during the late. Were likely higher. No, this is actually about saying like that they were not. I don't know what this is about, what it's trying to like fool me on here. So we want to support the conclusion again. Let us go to the conclusion. I forgot to do the things in the last one. Average number of individual reporting directly to CEOs. Average number of individuals directly reporting to CEOs. What? Average number of individuals directly. The title in the what? I guess. Sure. Fine. Engage. According to the researchers, these findings suggest that across the year analyzed, there was a growing interest among CEOs, to connect with departments in their companies. So, okay. The average number of managers and department leaders reporting directly to their CEOs didn't fluctuate. You're a liar. Things did go up. The average number of managers reporting directly to their CEOs was highest in this. When we got one data point, we can't track growing interest. The average number of department leaders reporting directly to their CEO was greater than the average number of managers reporting directly to their CEO in each one. that's true. The average, but I don't like it. The average number of department leaders reporting directly to their CEO rose. Good. This does show a growing interest. Why don't we like C? The average number of department leaders reporting directly was greater. Yeah, so this is like the concept where once you prove that something is factual, you should be able to make the statement without it, and theoretically the numbers could be going down, so D is the right answer here. 13, which one would likely weaken the astronomer's claim? So what is the astronomer's claim? This idea is also with that evidence in rocky... What's the astronomer's claim? Would weaken the astronomer's claim. I can't see it. Oh, here it is. Given that stars and planets initially formed from the same gas and dust, since stars and planets for the same gas, some stars that host stars and their planets are of the same material. Planets will have equal or smaller quantities than their host. This idea is also supported by the evidence rocky planets are composed of the same material. So we want to hurt that. So we want that planets having larger quantities or different materials. Most stars are made of hydrogen and helium, but when cooled they were small amounts of iron. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do this. I don't remember reading anything about what they are. Yeah. A nearby host star is to contain the same proportion as that of the sun. Host star. No, I want stars and planets, not stars and stars. Evidence emerges that the amount of iron in some is considerably higher. Yes. Larger quantities. The method for determining, no. Which most directly supports the we're supporting the journalist's claim. What's the journalist's? Why can I not find these claims? All right. So while attending they encountered few works by African artists in exhibitions, despite the reputation of one of the best places to view. According to an arts journalist, later in his career, sought to remedy this. Not how their work. What? Oh, the claim is that E wanted to remedy the fact that, okay, it's one of the best places to view. According to an artist, when the remedy is remember the fact that few African art exhibits, not by focusing on the work, but by showing how the work fits into the larger context of global art and global history. Okay. As curator of this, he organized a retrospective, one of the largest, devoted to a black artist in Europe. No, this does not show that in history. In this, E and curator Katie brought works by African artists okay, I like this from the international scope, right? This is from different parts in the world. Curator showed how African movements for independence from European colonial powers following this profoundly influenced work by African artists of the period. No, this is how the world affected them, not bringing their works with other people. E noted that the exhibition, not to emphasize the particular aesthetic trend, but to demonstrate Broadway, have approached, no. Yeah, I'm looking for this with global history, global and global. This is still celebrating like African American history. It's just how the world affected them. But this is like how he and other people could have like collaborated, such as by major. Yes, this is like him in the context of the world. What most logically completes the text here? Since they're unable to, because they cannot control who wins. Okay, let's go back one. To reveal the effect of holding office, researchers must compare. To reveal the effect of holding office means compare people who hold elected, people who do not hold office. To reveal the effect of holding office, researchers must compare people who hold office with people who do not hold office, but who are similar. So traits must be similar. Traits must be similar. Let's go back to the first sentence. One challenge when researching whether holding elected office changes is ensuring that to reveal the effect of holding office, researchers must compare people who hold elected office with people who do not hold elected office, but who are otherwise similar. So traits must be similar. But they cannot control the winner. So it has to be done after. So how do you see? So has to be done after. So how do you see who changes? Effective holding office must conduct people. Okay. Validated about people who do not currently hold office can only conduct with people who had previously held office and people who presently hold office. No. If they can't control who wins, that doesn't stop that. Should select a control group who differ from the office. Why would they pick somebody who differs? We'll find it difficult to identify a group who can function as an appropriate control group. Yes. Because they would have to pick people like them, since we are unable to control which politician wins elections. They find it difficult to who can function as an appropriate control. Yeah. Because then you would have to see change. Yeah. Struggle to find validated but do not currently hold office. No. They could easily find someone who does not control office. This is the problem. Last one. Thus, some scholars have concluded that. Let's go back. Some poems refer to customs for Spanish customs during this era. Because some poems refer to Spanish customs during this era, the poems portray Aztec society before the occupation of the empire, and the marginal notes indicate that much of the collections predate the initial, despite the fact that some of the poems have concluded that, okay. While its content largely predates the invasion, also contains, yes, after the invasion, because it's referencing things from the invaders. Although they've limited knowledge, that doesn't matter. Before the invasion of Spain, the poets have borrowed from the literary traditions of other societies. Before the invasion by Spain, no. Because what we're trying to prove is that there are inarguable references to beliefs and customs made in Spain. So that means they would have to change after the invasion. See, false, the references to beliefs should be attributed coincidentally. No. Inarguable references, not coincidental. And that's going to be it. Oh, man, easy every time.